evening, folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Legend of the Chupacabra. I'm your host, Chase, with my co-hosts, Blake and John.
Yay, 50.
Oh, yeah, episode 50.
Our 50th movie. Was it worth it?
No.
No. Yeah. So, was it at least a good start to season 4?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's at least that.
We're easing into season 4, I think, with this one.
We're on the right track.
It's a trauma movie, so you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
It's better than your typical trauma movie. I thought.
It's bad when you can watch a trauma Chupacabra movie and say, yeah, this is better than a lot of stuff I've seen recently.
Yeah, this kind of reminded me of Mosquito a bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It was definitely, a case of a special effects makeup person wanting to get into directing.
Right.
Yeah. The Chupacabra was... I've never pictured a Chupacabra looking like that.
No, nobody ever has.
And they had no shame in showing that bastard either.
Nope.
From pretty early on, too.
Like 12 minutes in, full body Chupacabra.
Oh my god. All right, so let's get this thing a-rolling. We start off with a totally real dedication to all those that died making this movie. How about a pre-dedication to all those that kill themselves after having watched this movie? We opened up to some shots of eggs and shots of monkeys and men in clean suits. So I have to assume that we're going to go with the genetically modified ape theory with the Chupacabra.
Is that a real theory?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my god.
One of many.
I was like, is the Chupacabra just some fucked up monkey?
That's what some people think.
I hate that idea.
The government cooked up some weird monkey, and that's what it is.
Such a boring idea of what it could be.
No, the most boring idea is that it's just a dog.
Which, unfortunately, that's what it is.
That's the truth is just a dog with mange.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what a Chupacabra is, everybody. Case closed. And then, after the dedication, we get a little title card that comes up that says, in association with the University of the Rio Grande School of Cryptozoology.
Yeah.
What?
Also,
the University of the School of Cryptozoology?
remember that name because they mention it throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just about, I believe it's just about 100 times.
I had no interest in looking up if it was actually real, but...
I didn't need to look it up because there's no way in hell that's real.
You'd be surprised.
I would be surprised if a real university had a cryptozoology program.
I'm aware of a university that has underwater basket weaving.
That's practical, though, Blake.
So during this opening montage, we see images of experimentation on apes and people cracking open ape eggs.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's just monkeys, eggs, monkeys, eggs, monkeys, eggs. It's hard not to assume that they're trying to make us think these are ape eggs.
You guys don't eat ape eggs?
They are.
And they also show what's supposed to be a fledgling Chupacabra, but it's more like a raw Cornish game hen being slapped around inside of a cage. The techno Tetris music that they're playing really isn't lending anything to the strange macabre imagery being shown.
Yeah, it was like some shitty industrial music video.
It's like a 4-inch nails music video. So the narrator comes on and explains what cryptozoology is in broad strokes and tells us that we're focusing on the Chupacabra for this documentary. And beginning in 1994, the Chupacabra started attacking goats and farm animals. And they sneakily slide in an image of like a syrup-soaked stuffed animal into the montage of these actual mutilated animals, thinking no one would notice that.
Like, there's a plethora of pictures of mutilated animals that you could use.
Well, they used some
But
of
you
them.
decided to do that.
They just,
Well,
there's just pictures of goat
why
heads
the Beanie
around.
Baby with
Yeah.
why the Beanie Baby with the strawberry jam on it?
It was really silly. That particular one. You're talking about that white goat, baby goat.
Yes.
What else could it be talking
I don't
about?
know. There's a couple other things in there. But yeah, that was.
But then in January of '97, they get actual factual video footage of the Chupacabra. This documentary uses actual footage shot by students of the University of the Rio Grande Valley. Wait, is it the university or is it the school? Or is it the school of the university of the school's university school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an after-school program.
Yeah. Maria Esperanza leads the group on their search for the Chupacabra through Santa Maria in South Texas. Pete Cortez and Daniel Webster also volunteered for the job as cameramen. They also enlisted George Army Armistad, for he's an ex-Marine and a firearms expert.
So why is his nickname Army if he was a Marine?
Armistad.
Yeah, Armistad.
So why is his nickname Army if he was a Marine?
I don't know. Why is this other guy Daniel Webster? I mean, the guy that like sold his soul to the devil. Or no, that's not what happened to Daniel Webster. In any event,
I don't know who Daniel Webster is.
some guy that was fucking around with the devil.
I thought he was some guy that was fucking around with a Chupacabra.
Well, in this movie.
One of the theories is that the Chupacabra is the devil, so there you go.
There you go.
All right. Fair enough.
So Esperanza has a personal connection to this search, as her uncle was killed by the Chupacabra. The narrator then claims that some very credible people believe that the Chupacabra is a genetic experiment gone wrong.
As soon as he started that sentence, some very credible people, I was like, oh, here we fucking go.
Mm-hmm. We're going to meet some of these very credible people later, and machi.
One of them, just the pronunciation of all his words immediately took him out of the running for credible.
He also says that some believe it to be an embodiment of pure evil, or even not of this world. But those two theories are just plain silly. Everybody knows you get a Chupacabra from injecting monkey blood and some grade A's.
Yes.
So Esperanza narrates to the camera, telling us that she's brought her expedition to Santa Maria, her hometown. She interviews Lloyd Jackson of Jackson Cattle and Livestock Company, who tells her that there was an animal mutilation on the property. It's nice to see George W. Bush keeping busy in his retirement years.
Taking a break from
you don't
pain.
realize how awesome this character is until you're 5 minutes from finishing the movie.
Well, I didn't realize it at first. I didn't realize he'd be a main character really right away.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he just steps into frame, completely unbeckoned, like in the middle of one of her sentences. I was just like, who is this bumpkin? He's like, what y'all doing? Documentary?
I like also when she's talking about the mutilation, she says it's different than the ordinary mutilations. It's like, what's ordinary about a mutilation?
Yeah, this isn't just any mutilation, but one that could only be committed by the twisted mind of a creature with supernatural strength. Because not just anything's going to tear into those adamantium-riddled goats.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm totally with Blake. I'm like, what is an ordinary mutilation? It's like, well, he's got his guts pulled out, his dick cut off, his feet turned inside out. Pretty typical mutilation around these parts.
Yep, that's
let's go
pretty
home.
textbook. Textbook mutilation. So she stoops down and reaches into the fence, apparently to jam her hand inside the carcass of the animal, when Hector, one of the ranch hands, screams at her not to touch it. He tells her not to touch the flesh of that goat until it's been blessed by the Coronada, whatever the hell, what is it?
It's a Jewish lady dressed as a holy woman.
The Curandera holy woman. The holy woman arrives, and sprinkles some grass clippings onto the goat and says her incantations to cast evil out of this place. Esperanza asks the woman for help in finding the Chupacabra, but I think this woman might actually be the culprit because look at them teeth on this woman.
Oh my God.
They look like those Halloween vampire teeth. just like
just on upside down.
Yeah. It's like orc teeth.
Yeah.
She refuses to help them and continues to bless the area. The authorities finally arrive, and Esperanza is all on their case from the jump. The sheriff tells her that her uncle's death has been ruled an animal attack and tries to stop them from recording him. A scuffle breaks out, and it's broken up by Army, who comes in and tries to intimidate the sheriff as much as a man wearing white jeans can intimidate anyone.
And I was pissed off by this whole thing.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I assumed this was going to be the Blake rant.
Yeah.
Anything involving the police.
Let me tell you something about these 10 badge motherfuckers. You can record a cop all you want.
In the sake of the costumes of this movie, those iron-on badged motherfuckers.
Yes. You can record cops all you want, especially if you're in public. But they were on private property. You can do whatever the hell you want when you're on private property. Film them assholes. But the Supreme Court says you can film public officials while they're fulfilling duties in an official capacity. Don't ever let them tell you can't do that. Second, that's straight up assault, Sheriff. You don't go pushing people's cameras around and knocking down some little lady. Fuckers need to start honoring their oath.
Can I just say something? Rural Texas.
Chase, you need to put the Star Spangled Banner in the background of
that. Well, they do something in the next two minutes that gets me pissed off again, but
the sheriff is concerned that all these strangers is going to draw unwanted attention to their small town. Esperanza starts accusing this podunk sheriff of being involved in some elaborate Chupacabra conspiracy when the holy woman back in the barn finds some glop on the ground and she tastes it, ew, and then screams, El Chupacabra, when holy shit, this movie just pops off.
Yes.
A 6 foot tall Chupacabra jumps out of the corner of the barn and slashes away at the cameraman. The rest of the team rush in as the cameraman screams in terror, and this scream I have to share with everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's so ridiculous. So here's the scream of this grown man cameraman. It's like a baby.
It's as if a giant shark had jumped onto the rear of a boat and somebody was sliding feet first into its mouth.
Oh. Quentin went down like a champ. He was fighting for his life.
Yeah, but he had a little weak scream on him too. But I don't blame him. But you know.
Yeah. After that scream, we cut to Dr. Eddie Hernandez, professor of cryptozoology. 2 words that have no business being together whatsoever. He explains that they have found this amazing footage of a real-life chupacabra, but they still don't know what it is because it moves like a primate, but all the DNA says that it's a reptile.
How do they have DNA?
They got they've got the whole fucking body. We come to find later on.
That's right. Yeah, that's true.
Back at the farm, the team moves in and nearly blasts a cat apart as they enter the barn.
Okay.
And this actually made me jump. Good job, Troma.
Well,
this got a jump out of me.
Mainly
because I was wearing headphones when I was watching it.
Here we go with untrained, trigger-happy cops killing family pets. It's a very common occurrence.
Yep.
And if you're that jumpy, maybe you shouldn't be a cop. That's all I'm saying. Cat didn't do shit.
Yeah. It's just being a cat.
He also obviously has no experience with firearms because the way he was pointing that gun around while he's supposed to be searching for a 6 foot demon was pitiful. We'll put it like that.
I mean, all of their movements in this part were pretty silly.
Everyone knows you have to be constantly switching from left hand to right hand grip and occasionally rested on your belly.
Yeah.
A big, wide stance, too.
Also,
wear sunglasses constantly.
Your scan lines need to go from ceiling to your toes, like rapid fire. That way nothing gets past you.
Yeah.
Not good cops.
Don't eat the fish.
Not good cops.
Don't eat the fish. They're sentient. They move in further into the barn when the deputy spots something. And he says, oh, no, it's just the holy woman. When the Chupacabra strikes again. Slashing his way through the deputy and sheriff. It looks like a goddamn walrus mixed with a flying squirrel. It beats the crap out of Army. And it just like ground and pounds him.
Yeah.
It doesn't attack him with its fangs or anything. It just beats the hell out of him, busts through the wall, and gets away. Esperanza gives her medical opinion that Army will be fine. Just leave him face down in the fucking dirt. Jackson checks on the sheriff and rolls him over, revealing that his entrails have been slashed open. Oh my God, his guts! Standard reaction. The team moves to the busted wall and searches for where the beast may have gone. From here, we cut to James Nelson, founder of the Southwest Paranormal Society. And he looks exactly what a founder of any paranormal society should look like.
Yes.
He marvels at the footage and says that it seems to fly at times. No, it does not.
Doesn't.
He's not the only one that says that.
They keep claiming that this thing flies around. It never flies.
It never even looks like it's flying.
No.
And yet it's clumsy because its legs, just the legs, are too heavy for Earth's gravity. That's the fucking sentence. Things only have weight based on the I can't. This fucking guy. Fat legs. That's the problem with the Chupacabra.
Oh my God.
He deduces it's an alien based off the fact that it has fat legs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of aliens around Earth then.
I saw a few people not of this Earth earlier today.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He's in his expression the whole time. He's like got this big smile on his face and he's like constantly gazing upward. He's all starry-eyed thinking about this thing. He like talks about the Chupacabra being an alien like Jim talked about Pam on The Office.
Oh man. Wow.
I've never seen a full episode of The Office. I'd probably like it, but I never watched it because one time I was at a party, and that The Office was on in the background at a party, and a girl shushed me because she was trying to watch it.
Oh my God.
So then I said, I will never watch that damn show.
Hilariously enough, there's an episode of The Office that's that exact same scenario.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, then I'll watch that episode.
They're at a party where they're watching Glee, and some people are trying to watch it, and they're shushing the people at the party that are just there for the party.
Huh. Maybe the girl was just trying to be like, maybe she
being real meta.
Wow.
Being real meta about it.
Damn. Been calling this girl a bitch for years. Maybe she was just maybe just a big fan, I guess. I don't know.
Oh man. So back with the team, the cameramen split up to search as Pete asks Jackson if he can call in for some police help. And Jackson responds with this sentence.
Hell, boy, the police were in the barn, smacked and splattered all over the place.
Wait, hang on a second. Let's listen to that one more time.
Hell, boy, the police were in the barn, smacked and splattered all over the place. Smacked and splattered all over the place. Smacked and splattered all over the place. Smacked and smacked and smacked and smacked and smacked and splattered all over the place.
That's a banger right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that line.
It is a good line.
Smacked and splattered all over the place. Also, that's not what Pete asked you, asshole.
Maybe he's trying to say that that's all the police in that town.
Oh, that poor town.
Well,
I guess.
it's only got 800 people. I think Mayberry had more than that, and they only had 2 people.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. You got to deputize everybody.
Esperanza turns a corner and screams bloody murder as it's revealed to be the poor holy woman still alive hunched in the corner. Did that really call for that scream, lady?
Just trying to get us.
She just shrieks.
Just trying to get us.
They help her up and take her inside. Pete notices a chunk of something hanging from a hook on the wall. From here, we cut to Vanessa Ford, editor of Red Tape magazine. Now, let's play a little game of which of these things is not like the other. She lists off some conspiracy theories: the Loch Ness Monster, Roswell, the deliberate distribution of crack in inner cities, and the Chupacabra.
They're all similar to me. I don't get the question.
She says that the government has yet to comment on claims that the Chupacabra was created in a lab in Puerto Rico. I wonder why. Back at the farm, Army finally comes to. Hector tries to help him up, but Army attacks him in confusion. Pete asks Hector what the rotting thing on the hook is outside. Army comments that he had something like that pulled out of his ass in Nam.
Yeah.
Which Pete then clarifies to Army that he wasn't actually in Nam because he was only 10 years old at the time. He's just delirious? I don't know.
Yeah.
He has a fucking concussion. Then homegirl about to ask him if he's thinking clear enough to keep going. He's talking about having shit pulled out his ass in Vietnam when he was 10. He has a concussion.
Yeah, well, she didn't catch that. Maybe he needed to sleep face down in the mud a little longer.
Yeah. The only way to take care of someone with a concussion is just let him sleep.
Yeah.
Hector then explains that the thing hanging on the hook outside is a garlic salt charm given to him by witches to keep the Chupacabra away. And they ask him, does it work? No.
Look around. They're splattered all over the barn.
Smacked and splattered. Army comes up with a plan to surround the goat pen that night to trap the Chupacabra so he can shoot it with a tranquilizer dart. So later that night...
I just want to point out that this whole section of the movie took place in broad daylight. Like, the Chupacabra is known specifically for coming at night, right? It's got crazy...
Not this one.
This one's a day Chupacabra. It's like the blade of Chupacabras.
So later that night, and you know it's night because the director was all composition schmomposition. I don't care if her head's at the bottom of the frame. Get that fucking moon in the shot too. Esperanza explains that the team now has all the experience that they need to capture the Chupacabra alive.
Okay, somebody fired. The only experience they have is watching the sheriff get killed.
Yeah.
And the only shots fired were at a cat. Nobody has experience.
But he almost got that cat, too.
Almost. You're right.
They know its moves now. They're ready for him. So she says that it's 10 p.m., and they believe to have a little bit of time to plan, as the previous Chupacabra attack was at 1 a.m. Because if you could count on the Chupacabra to be anything, it's punctual.
Yes. That's what Chupacabra means in Spanish, punctual.
Right on time. Also, why are they just hanging around? I mean, get the fuck out of there. There's a murderous monster running around.
Right.
They gotta catch it.
It is not their responsibility to catch it.
She has to avenge her uncle.
Oh, man.
So, Ari says that he's got a tranq dart that can put down a whole herd of elephants. That's some single dart.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't work, Jackson's got his shotgun.
He likes to keep.
As he steps into frame, I got a shotgun.
Like to keep it with me for close encounters.
I got my shotgun just in case I feel like accidentally murdering one of my ranch hands.
Oh, Jackson, you're fantastic. We're going to get those chupacabras. Now watch this drive.
Oh my god. That'd be my favorite president of all time.
So later, the goats stir as there's some movement outside. And Esperanza asks Webster if he has a nice wide shot. Yeah, I've got a great wide shot with the 5 of you assholes standing in front of me as I try to film out a fucking doorway.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about? It's like 3/4 of the shot is obscured.
You can see a couple of goats. It's wide. Just then the deputy saunters in, almost being shot. He says, "Oh, I haven't had a welcome like that since the friggin' Chupacabra." The Chupacabra throws the deputy into the camera as Jackson's shotgun goes off and blows one of the ranch hands' face off.
Jesus Christ.
The team is forced to flee. They all run to the van. All of them but Jackson make it. And the Chupacabra slams into the window as Army is the last one in. Webster wants out of this chicken shit outfit, but Esperanza says that he can't leave because, people are dying and lives are being wrecked.
This was my favorite scene in the whole movie. Not because of what's going on in the inside or around the van, because inside is panic. Right outside, there's a mythical creature banging on windows.
Yeah.
But just 10 to 15 feet away in the goat pen, the goats couldn't give a fuck. They're just standing there staring. They're not panicked. They're not running around. They're just looking, saying, "What the hell's going on over there?" And that made the whole movie for me. Was watching the goats in the background because they did not care at all.
Nope. For something that's the goat sucker.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be very concerned with the goats.
No.
Now that it's got people around.
Seriously. Seriously. That thing likes sucking people equally as much as goats.
Well, the goats were unfazed by their plight in the van.
Goats are too dumb to be afraid.
So, yeah, lives are being wrecked. Oh, God. She says that
they're being wrecked mainly
she tells him that
by being killed.
Yeah. She tells him that he knew that it would be dangerous when he signed up for this project. A documentary about the Chupacabra? I'm fairly certain it's not his fault for assuming this would be an astoundingly uneventful weekend.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, they're going to pay me to go sit in the desert and look at nothing? This would be great."
Yeah, this would be the easiest $300 I ever made.
Yeah.
So, Army can't find the keys until he does, but the van won't start. It's at this point that the deputy confesses to Esperanza that they did cover up the fact that her uncle was killed by the Chupacabra.
Yeah, he says something about the police having official Chupacabra policy.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And that this is the granddaddy of all Chupacabras.
Oh, yeah. It's the queen Chupacabra.
Yeah.
It attacks the van one more time and shines its high beam headlamp eyes in before it scampers away into the night. Army then says they need to make a break for the farmhouse. Cut back to Dr. Hernandez, and he's talking about the initial estimation of the Chupacabra's size. He seems to think that kittens and Rottweilers are the same size, so I don't know if we can believe this man.
Kittens and Rottweilers.
Yeah. Rottweilers, yeah, that's right.
What an asshole.
Maybe we're the assholes and it's some other cryptozoological creature that we've never heard of. A Rottweiler.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's not a regular Rottweiler. It's much wilder than that. It's a Rottweiler. From him, we cut to Vincent Michelucci, an archaeologist / paleontologist. And I'm thinking that they put both of these up because they couldn't figure out which one of these he was actually supposed to fucking be. So why not have both? He explains, or rather makes up as he goes along, the claim that, judging from the video, the Chupacabra is a theropod.
Which I've never heard this theory before. This must just be made just for this movie.
This is total bullshit.
A theory about Chupacabras, they're going to start throwing bullshit.
Look, I'm on board with aliens. I'm on board with super soldiers. I'm on board with mangy dogs. But this is where I draw the line. Yeah.
Anytime you start bringing dinosaur shit in here, I'm going to fact check you.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
Yes.
He says that theropods were present in the mid-Triassic period. No, they were not. They didn't show up until the close of the Triassic period. He claims that the smallest theropod was Compsognathus. Wrong again. The smallest theropod was Anchiornis huxleyi, only 1 foot long. But guess what? Guess what are also theropods, gentlemen? Birds.
Oh, boids.
All birds are theropods.
Boids.
He says that the distinguishing features of theropods are walking on hind legs, large heads with sharp teeth. He never actually once gives the actual defining characteristics of theropods, which are hollow bones and 3-toed limbs. He also says that all theropods died off by the Cretaceous period. See all birds being theropods.
Boids.
Filthy, stinking boids.
Now, if theropods have three toes, or the Chupacabra only had 2.
Not a theropod. Yeah.
I'm beginning to think this pony-tailed motherfucker had no idea what he was talking about.
I'm starting to think this balding, ponytailed, earring-wearing guy isn't a paleontologist at all.
No, he's some 80s Wall Street reject.
He claims that the idea that the Chupacabra is descended from theropods is an interesting one. At least he thinks so. Well, I don't, good sir. I'm done.
Respectfully disagree. Also, can I just say, from like a filmmaking standpoint, cutting in these, quote, experts is eliminating any kind of tension that they may have built. We're going from them trying to get out of this car with a monster outside. They got to run to the house, and you're gonna cut in some dork talking about theropods. Not the right spot for that kind of thing, fellas.
I mean, you can do that, but not in the middle of an intense scene.
Have we mentioned this is supposed to be in the style of a found footage type deal?
Yes.
And this came out 1 year after the Blair Witch Project.
Oh God, really?
Yeah. I was looking back and I was like, Blair Witch Project came out in 1999? So old.
This Blair Witch Project looked like some multi-million-dollar...
Yeah. It's amazing how many things he did not learn from Blair Witch Project.
Damn.
God. So, back in the farmhouse, the team are waiting for paramedics to arrive to help the holy woman. Jackson blames himself for Ernesto's death. Which he absolutely should.
I don't know, fellas. I can't help but blame myself.
So something makes me think this might be my fault.
Yeah. The bigger question, how did Jackson survive out there all alone?
My biggest question is, once again, what's going on in the background? Because Army, who was a Marine, looks like he's trying to clean the rifle in the background, and he accidentally pulls the bolt out of the gun And for the rest of the scene, he's fumbling trying to put it back in, but never does.
He broke their only remaining weapon.
Like, it's like right when the scene starts, he pulls the bolt and it just comes out. And he stares at it for a second, then he puts it on the table, and then when they come back, he's just trying to put it back in and it never goes in.
Comes out, he looks right at the camera.
That gun is still broken to this day.
Yeah. For a guy named Army that was in the Marines, he should know how to put that back together.
So Pete suggests that they find these witches at the cantina to help see if they can help them figure out something to do. And Esperanza reveals that she was bitten by the Chupacabra and all the commotion. The holy woman comes up and tells her that she's doomed to die. And only one thing that can save her. Hair of the dog.
I was like, what? Yeah, just drink some tequila and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, why is she speaking in code? Like, just tell her. They got to go see these witches down at the cantina to figure out what the code was. Which I was really hoping. Every time they said cantina, of course, I'm thinking Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I was hoping, like, whenever they showed up at the cantina, it would be the cantina music just played, like, with a little Tex-Mex flair.
Yeah, by one of those mariachi bands.
It's just played with trumpets.
Yeah. Please tell me somebody can find a mariachi version of the cantina music.
Of the jizz music?
Because, yeah, oh God. Forgot about that.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. Yeah, you're right.
Well, I was hoping that the witches would be like, I'm picturing like the Stygian witches.
Yeah.
Not nowhere close.
No.
We'll get to them. Esperanza tells them that they all need to calm down, for they need their strength for the morning and for what's to come. Next morning, the team bury Ernesto, and they ask Hector to give the eulogy as he knew Ernesto best. So he just says the Lord's Prayer and calls it a day.
I didn't
never like that Ernesto guy anyway.
I knew him. I didn't like him. I still don't understand what they're doing outside. Like they just spent.
That's true.
They just spent like 5 hours digging a 6-foot deep hole right out in Chupacabra country.
Yeah,
Chupacabra's a day feeder.
Yeah.
I don't know. This movie's not good.
No.
So later in the cantina, the group track down the witches and ask them for help. It's just two vaguely alternative looking women.
Yep.
It's
in someone's
the two
garage
girls in a small town that like listen to Pearl Jam and
smoke clove cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they take them back to their coven, aka an unfinished garage.
Well, I was gonna say every wall in this town is made of garage doors. Because when in the cantina, garage doors. The witch's hideout, garage doors.
Yeah, it's true. It's all the materials they got.
That's it.
So they're helping some poor bastard onto a table who was also bitten, maybe? I don't know what this guy's deal is yet.
They said he had the poison in him.
He got bit like last summer, they said, or something?
Yeah.
They tell Esperanza that she will soon drown in a black sea of pain as she shits out her entrails. It's a little harsh.
Yeah. Easy, Daria.
They say that only she could kill the Chupacabra and free herself from the curse.
It's vampire
the man on
rules
the table
now.
Yeah. Why not? The man on the table gives an Oscar-worthy performance as he pukes his guts out for about 10 minutes. They say that Chupacabra bit him last summer and he's been slowly dying ever since. They haggle over the price for them to be taken to the Chupacabra's den.
Yeah, the dude's dying on the table and then negotiating a finding a whole price.
For a staggering $100.
Yeah. I was like, what? She offers them $50, which they scoff at. But the magic number is just $100.
Try doubling it.
Like, what do we look like? Some cheap bullshit witches? You better double that, sweetheart.
So each of them are going to make $50.
Yeah.
To risk their lives.
Oh, man. I also like they're telling her that she's going to be like shitting her guts out and stuff, and they've got a guy on the table who's just been like living for at least a year after getting bitten. You know, it sucks all the urgency out of the situation.
With nothing more than what seems to be an upset stomach.
Yeah.
So, Army's skeptical. He doesn't want to pay him the staggering fee. They pull a worm out of the guy's stomach and toss it into an honest-to-God witch's cauldron where it bursts into flames. This is enough to convince them to pay the witches the money so that they can lead them to the den.
All they did was that old like witch doctor trick where they palm something and like pretend to pull it out of his stomach.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they are witches.
Well, that's worth the extra $50 right there.
Yeah. Cut to Father Patrick Callahan, who says that the Chupacabra is just one of God's creatures and not evil at all. The only creature created by God that is inherently evil is perhaps man. Jesus.
I know.
He must be Catholic.
Yeah.
Made me feel bad.
Earlier, I think it was back in the house, Jackson said something about like his beliefs had been blown to smithereens. Do you remember that?
One thing that's been blown to smithereens is Ernesto's face.
Oh my god. But yeah, I don't know why I thought that was so funny. It's like, God.
Turns out Ernesto had a face tattoo that just said his beliefs on it.
Chupacabra's my god now.
So back with the team, they're following the witch's directions out to the Chupacabra den. They park Jackson's truck and head out on foot. As they're marching through the woods, they find the desiccated remains of a human and press on.
You could hear the highway the whole time, too.
Soon they find another, eerily similar to the first corpse, desiccated human.
Yeah, same missing teeth and everything.
Yeah. Then they come across a third, shockingly identical corpse. Think you're going in circles here, folks. Later, Army spots a fourth corpse. However, this one isn't that same one we saw 3 times. The witches recognize him as their friend Carlos, and they start to do a long, elaborate ritual over his body to pad for time. As she does this, she screams out and grabs a knife and starts slashing at the group, seemingly possessed. She tells them all to leave, so they do. They just leave her crazy ass in the woods.
I don't blame
The
them.
other witch just leaves her friend. Who cares?
Look, there's a honest-to-God creature out here. You want to stay back and act all craft on us? Go ahead.
I think it's from this point on, I question every single decision they make. Like, they can't do anything right.
Later in the day, still trekking out. Maybe you should have stayed in the truck.
Mm-hmm.
They finally come to the Chupacabra stomping grounds as they spot some scarecrows set up by the Chupacabra?
That's what I was wondering. Who set this up?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Nothing. No reason for the scarecrows.
Judging by the looks of the scarecrows, it was probably Dr. Zaius that set them up.
Just warning about that Chupacabra.
You can't go past here. It's heresy.
Pete spots the opening to the Chupacabra's den, which is little more than a crack in a boulder.
Yeah, there's no hole there.
Yeah. Army finds some dynamite conveniently left behind as they plan to blow up the opening of the den, trapping the Chupacabra outside when it returns from hunting. They also find a giant cage lying around and formulate a plan to use Army and Pete as bait to be inside the cage as the Chupacabra attacks around the cage.
What the fuck?
Sure.
What kind of insane plan is this?
They're using shark fighting techniques on dry ass land.
Man goes in the cage goes in the desert. Chupacabra in the desert.
Farewell and adieu, you fair Spanish ladies. Jesus Christ, we're shoving Jaws shit into this movie.
It's everywhere. But why would you put the cameraman in the cage? The cameraman just wants to get in there to get the coverage, he says. But
to document it, man.
But he's going to be in the way.
The show must go on.
He's going to get shot or Chupacabra.
Then how else would we have footage of it to show in this movie?
Someone else filmed from the outside, hidden.
That's the smallest wrench thrown into the works of this whole plan.
Outside of the protection of the dog kennel?
They don't care. They've been walking around out in the open for days.
Yeah.
Just let the fucking thing kill us. Esperanza leaves a message on the tapes to whoever may find it if they all die, telling the world that the Chupacabra is real. Army shows us the cave, quote-unquote cave. He lights the dynamite and tosses it in. It blows up in an explosion nowhere near what 4 sticks of dynamite would produce.
No.
They rig the cage with Army and Pete inside, ready to blow the Chupacabra away when it returns. That night, Jackson and Esperanza ready some Molotov cocktails.
I don't understand why they had to go through the trouble.
Complicate things further.
Like the plan when they lay out the plan was just to douse it and set it on fire. But now they got to go they got to add in the middleman, the glass bottle and the rag.
Yeah.
Somebody during filming, somebody was like, The Thing was a really cool movie, and they changed.
Let's get some of that in there. So while they're doing that, the possessed witch returns. Her back is all clawed open as she calls out for her witch friend, Sarah, who just abandoned the group in the night. She's nowhere to be seen.
I said this makeup effect on her back was really good, I thought. I think there's like...
It wasn't terrible.
I think there's a lot of pretty good makeup effects in this movie. I mean... Relatively. Not the creature, obviously. But,
Homeboy's face getting shot off looked pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there's another part coming up that I thought was pretty...
Yeah, they didn't skimp on the gore.
No.
That's for sure. So she's calling out for her friend Sarah. She says that she can't die alone with these strangers and just wanders out into the night. That's a wrap on witch number 2. Never see him again. So what was the possession about?
Don't know.
Did that even need to happen?
It's just muddying the waters of what the thing is.
Yeah. So
this documentary asks a lot of questions and gives no answers.
Meanwhile, Army and Pete hear the Chupacabra approaching. It attacks them in the cage several times before jumping on top of the cage, slinking its tongue through the bars towards Army. Army sticks the barrel of the rifle into its mouth and shoots it with the tranquilizer dart.
Army's pretty slow on the draw, too.
Yeah, it takes him a little while to get things going.
This Chupacabra's been humping that cage for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he takes a shot.
All he's managed to do is tell Pete to keep his eyes peeled. Tells him to peel his eyes several times.
Before they went in there and they were trying to tell him, that it's a crazy idea, somebody mentioned that they've been shooting at this thing. They've only shot at it once.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And really the only other shot that was fired hit poor old, what's his face?
Yeah, exactly.
In the face.
Yeah. What's his no more face?
What's his no face? The Chupacabra then stumbles away and collapses on a rock. Army leaves the cage, leaving Pete behind to check if it's knocked out.
That was another thing. He shoots it. It falls down 5 feet from the cage, and he says, I'm going to go out there and get a better shot. You are a Marine with a rifle 5 feet away from your target. You don't need to get closer.
Yeah, also, a better shot than point blank?
Yeah.
He already got it.
Well, he got it, but
sure.
He sees that it's out. He tells Pete to go back to tell the others and tell them to sit tight until he could get it secure in the cage. And oh God, the friggin' Chupacabra again. Army tries fighting it off of him with a rock as he screams at Pete to run. Pete goes and gets the group and brings them back to look for Army. They find the rifle still laying in the cage. They spot the Chupacabra sucking Army's entrails out through his mouth. It was nice and gory, but the puppet head looked like it might as well have been Ernie.
Yeah, this one wasn't so good.
Jackson then point blank shoots the Chupacabra in the face with the tranq dart again, seemingly knocking it out for real this time. They drag it into the cage and lock it in. Jackson lights the Molotov, announcing, "I'm gonna burn this son of a bitch." So the rest of the team run for their lives, and as they get away, they turn to see something went horribly wrong. As Jackson is screaming in pain with flames everywhere, Pete runs back to get him, and Jackson says, "Oh, the damn thing blew up on me." Half his face is just painted red. Oh, Jackson.
Oh my God, he's turned into goddamn Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face.
Yeah. As they run back, Esperanza falls into a crevice of sorts, landing on a pile of bones and eggshells. So are they setting up that there's more Chupacabras? That it's laying eggs?
I think they were just showing all the monkey eggs.
Those damn prairie monkeys laying their eggs all over the ranches.
You done fell in a classic monkey nest, lady.
So they help her out, and they make it to some ramshackle plywood shack. They bust inside to find 3 Mexican men hiding from immigration inside. They all hunker down and wait for the morning to make it back to the truck. But Webster's worried because the door has a big-ass hole in it, so the deputy attempts to blow it up when friggin' Chupacabra. Mm-hmm. It pulls his arm out the window, and when he pulls it back in, it's been severed at the elbow, dangling by a thread. Thoroughly enjoyed this effect.
Great. It was great.
This is good guerrilla filmmaking, crude yet effective.
Yeah. Did you guys see...
The best part of this scene, hands down, best part of this scene is Jackson yelling, "Oh my God," from under his bandana. Because there's just a bandana covering his head, and he's yelling, "Oh my God."
So one of the Mexican men takes the deputy's gun and goes outside for some goddamn reason and is immediately killed.
Everyone is like, "Don't do it, man. Don't do it." And he's like, "Chill, I got this." Like, what are you talking about? Did you see what just transpired, sir?
Yeah. The Chupacabra busts through the wall, and Esperanza manages to jam a knife into its mouth. Its eyes light up red, and stupid composited smoke pours out of its mouth, and it collapses and dies. Cut to much later, as the Chupacabra is on an examination table being studied by Esperanza and the prestigious Dr. Hernandez in the cryptozoology lab at the University of the Rio Grande Valley.
It's not cryptozoology if you have a body.
Let me tell you something. Every cryptozoology lab is in the basement of some dude's mom's house.
That's not fair.
So they spot a barcode-like brand on the Chupacabra's arm. This serves no purpose whatsoever.
Yeah, man, it's a super soldier.
Touch on it. Oh yeah. Also, let's make sure that the super soldier has 6 tits on it too.
Makes sense.
Because they point that out next.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like a Rottweiler.
It's like a Rottweiler.
It can nurse 6 others. 6 other
6
super
nipples.
soldiers.
Get no reproductive organs, but 6 breasts and a stupid tribal tattoo on its arm. They examined the membranous wings under its arms, and Esperanza once again claims that it was flying all over the place. Never did.
No.
They cut the eye out of one of the eye sockets and squeezed some blue goo out of it just to do some gross out stuff.
This entire autopsy was just masturbation for this guy, for the special effects guy.
Yeah.
Like, it served no purpose. Yeah. Didn't add anything to the story.
This is just his demo reel.
It was, okay, we're done with the movie. What are we going to do with the suit now?
Let's cut it up.
Let's cut it up.
Yeah. Let's slice it up. It's got a forked tongue that used to suck out the entrails of its victims. This movie is effectively over, and we just keep watching this autopsy.
Yeah.
They cut open its abdomen and pull out a pile of glop, and then there's this very impressive 3D molecule spinning around. As Esperanza says that it's like the cells of the Chupacabra are competing with each other for dominance. What?
The chromosomes were competing for dominance.
The chromosomes. What does that mean?
I really don't know. I don't know. What else did she say about it? She said that, it was the scariest DNA she's ever seen or something like that.
Damn, this DNA is straight up scary.
Damn.
Oh, God.
This is like the ring of DNA.
It was never like mutating into different things or anything that would warrant its cells competing for dominance.
I don't know. Like, this is my big problem with the autopsy scene at the end of the movie. Is just like, I mean, you've got these experts presenting their theories about what the Chupacabra is. The autopsy ends up answering none of those questions. It gives us no answers. It's so pointless.
Just more questions.
Just more questions. Just muddying the waters further.
Right then, Graham Greene walked into that autopsy room and said, "Those are damn good questions."
Yeah. This is the Lost of autopsies.
Yes.
So, cut from that to another interview with Mayor Christine Villarreal, saying that the people of the town have come together to deal with the Chupacabra problem, taking care of their animals and keeping them safe as they depend on the livestock to survive. Cut to Jackson. Jesus Christ. The
this
burn
whole
makeup
movie was just the lead up to the punchline of his interview.
They just powdered half of his face bone white and gave him a butthole for a mouth.
Yeah, they jacked up his one lip like Two-Face.
Mm-hmm.
He looked like Two-Face.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. It's a little painful, but I'm getting by.
Oh man, when he got to that, and I reflected on all the things that have happened to Jackson in this movie, I was just like, this is not the ride I expected to go on with this character.
No.
Like, when he first showed up, I don't know about you guys, but when I see a cowboy, I assume that they know what they're doing.
Right.
I don't know what it is. I just trust a cowboy, but he just fucks up 1,000 times. Ends up with killing his branch hand and only has half a face now.
I guess if you put 100 cowboys in a room, one of them's bound to be an idiot.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta examine your preconceptions.
Yeah.
Cut to Pete and Webster. Pete says that the info they got from the experience is invaluable, but he feels bad that so many people didn't make it through. And then we get a montage of all the people that died throughout the movie.
But only their death scenes. Remember these people and how they died in horrible pain? Here's the footage of it.
Yeah.
Remember that poor guy that was just trying to support his family when he got his face shot off?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Then Webster says that you can read all about it in the book that he wrote, Terror in Texas, a survivor's story.
Daniel looks like Fat Mac from It's Always Sunny.
Cut to Esperanza. She's proud that they found a chupacabra, but she's disgusted by this one critic saying that they shouldn't have killed it because they could have studied it further. Can you believe that? It's
I can.
fairly reasonable. Yeah. Mr. Narrator then returns and tells us that after the expedition, another tape surfaced in Sun Valley, California, of another chupacabra caught on film. And in it, two men are filming the darkness of a goat pen. As a chupacabra appears, they shoot it, but it does the typical chupacabra MO and gets up after they think it's dead and attacks them. The camera cuts off, and we hear them scream. Roll the fucking credits.
What was the point of that shit?
To tell you that there's more monkey eggs out there.
We already saw the monkey eggs.
Watch out for the monkey nest, folks.
Don't go messing around with the monkey egg. You'll end up with a chupacabra on your hands.
Sweet Jesus. All right, so there we go. First installment of season 4 in the bag. Chupacabras.
I gotta say, I loved the concept of this movie.
It wasn't bad.
I would have been all in on this thing if it had been, executed better.
Yeah. I'm up for any Chupacabra movie because, like I said, it's my favorite cryptozoological thing.
Yeah.
There isn't enough of them, I'll tell you that.
There's not nearly enough Chupacabra movies, and the ones that they have are like, this, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I think
Bigfoot gets all the fucking headlines.
But there's so many found footage movies that are about supernatural stuff, and this is more of a natural thing, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was interesting. It could have been something. I really think there was potential here, but what are you gonna do?
So let's do some questions, gentlemen.
Oh,
okay.
God.
So we're going back to the 5-question format. We're still going to do the quiz at the end of the season, but we're going to do 5 bonus questions just because why not? It's fun. So are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Question number 1. How long after Uncle Esperanza was killed by the Chupacabra was he found? Question number 2. Where was Vincent Michelucci, an archaeologist / paleontologist, at?
Oh, damn it.
No idea.
Question number 3. How long did Ernesto work for Jackson before he was savagely shot in the face?
By Jackson.
I don't know that one either.
Rough.
During the witch's coven scene, some random man in sunglasses is in the background lighting candles. How many candles does he light? Bet you didn't even know he was in that scene, did you?
I didn't know.
And the final question, what subject number was the Chupacabra?
Jesus Christ.
That was during the final autopsy.
I know what it should be, but that doesn't mean that's what it is. I got one right. I know I got one right.
I think I also got one right. It's like the only one that I really made an effort to remember.
Okay, question number 1. How long after Esperanza's uncle was killed by the Chupacabra was he found?
1 week.
Oh, 1 week. That's what I got too.
1 week.
Yeah.
Points on the board for all. Where was Dr. Michelucci, an archaeologist / paleontologist, at?
Harvard.
I said Texas University.
The Texas Commission of Natural History.
Close.
Close. How long did Ernesto work for Jackson?
3 years.
I also got 3 years.
7 years.
Ooh.
7 years he's known this man that he shot brutally in the face.
And all he got was an Our Father.
How many candles does Sunglasses Man light in the background of the Witch's Coven?
4.
I guessed 3.
2.
Damn.
And finally, what was the subject number of the Chupacabra?
It should be 1, but I doubt that's what it is.
yeah, that's not what it is.
This is the one that I made a special effort to remember. 071121.
071121.
That's ridiculous.
It's only six.
Am I actually going to say this? John is in the lead.
Holy shit. Prepare your asses.
Well, there we go. Questions are out of the way. The business is out of the way. Now we got to do some coming attractions.
Yes.
And I'm so ready for this.
We are
because once again, it's Blake picking, and he's picking episode 2, and shit always happens when Blake picks episode 2.
Okay, so you got to understand my thought process with this.
Oh, God.
There was we just watched a Chupacabra movie. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, we're watching a Bigfoot movie. So I couldn't find the Bigfoot movie I want. Well, the Bigfoot movie I wanted was rated too high. So I found a Bigfoot movie that was basically like a Bigfoot summer party movie where it's like college kids having fun and Bigfoot's there too having fun with them. And I said, no. I said, this is episode 2, damn it. I can't go out like that. So, being the crazy person that I am, I started looking into all the cryptozoological creatures that I'm aware of. Yeah. And I landed on something called the aswang. It's a creature in the Philippines that taps on people's roofs and like steals their babies and shit.
Mm-hmm. Were we watching a Filipino movie?
Well, of course, there's no movies for an aswang.
Where's the story going?
No. So I found a Filipino movie. And it was also rated high, but I said, fuck it, I don't care. Because I know why it's rated high. And it's not because it's good. So what we're watching is the 1981 action movie For Your Height Only.
Oh, is this with that little dude?
Yes. It's a little guy named Wang Wang who's plays Agent 00. It's basically a Filipino dwarf James Bond ripoff.
Holy shit!
Okay, so I'm gonna read
John, if you've never seen footage of this guy in action,
oh, it's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Is this the guy that dances in that one video?
I've never seen him dance. I've seen him jump out of buildings holding onto an umbrella though.
Oh wait, no, I think I know who you're talking about. I think so.
So anyway, here's the storyline. Mr. Giant, of course that would be his nemesis, has kidnapped the brilliant Dr. Von Kohler and is planning to use the doctor's invention, the N-bomb, to hold the world hostage.
Whoa.
The only one who can foil Mr. Giant's evil scheme is Agent 00, a 3-foot-tall Filipino martial arts master, expert marksman, top-class romancer, and all-around super spy. Can Agent 00 rescue Dr. Kohler before it's too late? Reviews? There are no bad reviews for this thing. That's what I'm saying. 10 out of 10. Possibly the supreme achievement of mankind's presence on Earth. 10 out of 10. Petite, like a potato. I did find... wait, where's the one bad one that I have? Oh, shit. God damn it. I lost it. Oh, yeah. 2 out of 10. Difficult to endure. The best thing so far that I've seen is the plot keywords, by the way.
Okay.
Plot keywords: slapstick comedy, dwarf, espionage, martial arts, kissing while having sex. So there we go. For your height only.
Amazing.
Oh, and it's 88 minutes, so not that bad.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, holy shit. I'm looking forward. I've always wanted to see one of the. I've seen so many clips of him.
Yeah.
I've never seen one of the movies.
He was supposed to do a trilogy, but they only did 2 of them. So the sequel is still up for grabs.
Even the trilogy got cut short?
Yeah.
Wow. But okay. So what's it called again?
For your height only.
For your height only.
Yeah, not to be confused with the sequel, The Impossible Kid.
Sounds magnificent.
This is exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Hopefully it doesn't Buffalo Rider us.
Yeah. I could be such an asshole right now.
You could, but you won't.
But I'm not. You're right, I won't. I'm not going to screw this up. Okay, so I'd like to thank everybody that's been listening to us. What a long road it's been to get to 50 movies. It still staggers the mind that we've watched 50 of these things.
Do we have another 50 in us?
We'll see. None of us have died yet.
Well, I'm 93 years old, so I don't know. It's up in the air.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Garbage Theater, on Twitter at Garbage_Theater, and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you'd like to leave us a review on iTunes, boy, would we appreciate the hell out of that. And if you want to suggest a movie, we're at the very beginning of a season, so now's the time to do it. Drop us an email at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com, or drop us a line on any of our social media channels, and we'll take it into consideration. Any last voids for Chupacabra?
No.
Said it all, I think.
Well, on that unexciting note, till next time, we gotta figure out a better way to end these fucking episodes.
Stop asking me this question. I'll leave it all on the field, Chase.
Don't take a job as a ranch hand.
Chupacabras are God's children too.
It's man who is evil.
Yeah. Nothing like God's abomination, man.
So, anyway, till next time when we watch For Your Height Only. See you then, folks.